Well, Mainsail's just celebrated its 10th birthday, which is rather exciting. Rather, we're in our 10th year of trading down here on the island. Predominantly, the company's a marketing and sponsorship agency, but over the course of the last few years, we've increasingly been involved in corporate hospitality, event management, and sponsorship fulfillment. Corporate hospitality is vitally important. It fills a number of different gaps across that range of services that we offer our clients. And particularly within the framework of events and sponsorship. And those two things go hand in glove with hospitality, so it's a vital part of what we do. Mainsail's involved in a range of different events, both on the island but also away from the island. Most of those are relate specifically to sailing, and when we're not on the island, they tend to be about sponsorship fulfillment.
Which events that you work with are best for the hospitality market?
The events that we focus on down here on the island really are the main sailing events. So around the island race, Cowes Week, obviously, the Little Britain Cup, the Classic Yacht Regatta also. Those are core focal points. But then outside of those main event activities, where we might be providing support to companies who are actually actively racing at those events and want to entertain people to come and watch the action on the water. Outside of those events, we also do a lot of day trips, picking people up from Portsmouth or from Southampton on various vessels and just taking them out on a corporate day sailing. So those are the key events for us. The most important elements for a corporate event activity are proximity to either their HQ or communications to and from sort of major public transport spots. That's vital. Getting your guests into and off or out of the event scenario is of primary importance. Accommodation is absolutely vital. Good quality, high standard of accommodation. That's really important also. And then just in terms of the activity through the day, making sure everything flows really nicely and there's a seamless transitions really from the start of the day through to the end of the day's activity.
How's the corporate hospitality scene changed over recent years?
From a sailing perspective, or the marine sector particularly, other than a rather marked downturn, the format of it hasn't particularly changed too much. Definitely we've seen a reduction in the number of people partaking in marine corporate hospitality, but fortunately things seem to be gradually improving. The green shoots are there, and we seem to have a lot more positive inquiries ongoing at the moment.
What makes sailing particularly good for corporate hospitality?
Oh, I think it's a number of things, but from a business-to-business perspective, the main positive attribute is that you've got your customer or your contact in one place for a fairly protracted period of time. So if you can't build your relationship with them during that time, you can certainly bore them into business by the end of it. So you've got a captive audience. Clients today are really cautious about what they buy. They want to make sure that you've covered all the bases before they enter into a contract with you. So that could be anything from the travel arrangements through to the accommodation, to the menus of what the guests are going to be eating on board the vessel during the day, to the sites that they're going to see. So it's a whole package. It's a one-stop requirement, really. They want to have a very personal service. One point of contact is vital, particularly within a big organisation where they might find themselves, you might find yourself working across a number of different departments. And budget. It's got to be on budget or less than the budget, ideally.
What sort of companies use your hospitality services?
Well, there's a number of different areas that we're involved in supplying. I mean, they do tend to be fairly big companies. Sectors could be oil and gas, insurance companies, banking, obviously, is a fairly important area for us. Those are the main areas of business that tend to select us, and for a whole range of different reasons as well. You know, they might be doing some team building on the vessel, or they could be entertaining some VIP clients, or it could just be some form of corporate celebration. They've achieved a particular milestone, that type of activity. So it's quite a broad church.
And how big are the groups that you work with?
Most vessels are restricted to 12 people, including the skipper and crew. So we're looking at groups of between 8 and 10. As that relates to some of the bigger events down here, so for example Cows Week, companies might then rotate 8 to 10 people through a boat over the course of the week. So in a week they're looking at between 50 and 70 people to entertain.
And is the island a good place for providing corporate hospitality events?
It's brilliant for the marine sector. I think the island is a gem, and it's a great asset, a natural asset, and people do want to come and take part in all kinds of things here. I think, yes, I'd say it's perfect location. Travelling to and from the island is not difficult. You can be in London in 2 hours 15 minutes. It's absolutely perfectly located for all kinds of event activity.
Do the island's major events do enough to encourage corporate hospitality?
I don't think the island does do enough, no, and it should focus more on corporate hospitality for a number of different reasons. There isn't actually anywhere during some of the major events in the calendar where you can actually go and purchase a corporate hospitality package, which to me would seem a no-brainer. And I think if it was something that that the island could focus on across all of the events, then I think that would be a really positive step for island business. Some of the other events I think might be a little bit more challenging to sell corporate hospitality around. But you don't need to go to an existing event in order to enjoy the assets that the island has got. I mean, you could bring your clients down and take them kayaking, mountain biking. You could do an individually planned trek from down across the Tennyson Trail. I mean, there's so much to offer down here for people to get involved in, and we're so close to some of the biggest cities on the mainland that, yeah, it's a perfect location for it.
How's the market been over the last couple of years?
The market has been exciting, challenging, to say the least. That said, we were fortunate, personally speaking. The company was fortunate insofar as the majority of our clients were spending budgets that had already been set. So we were able to retain the majority of our revenue. It has decimated the city, and a lot of our contacts have changed. I think generally speaking, it's a question of the corporate hospitality industry reinventing itself somewhat.
And are you optimistic for the future?
I think you've got to be a very optimistic person to be in corporate hospitality in the UK. Not only is it challenging with the weather that we face, it's been pretty challenging with the economics over the last 2 years. But yes, my glass is half full, not half empty.